Welcome to Elevate with Ayanthi Philip. Greg Jacobson is the world's leading quality of life strategist. He specializes in relationship building and also emotional fitness. His clients are high net worth individuals in America and all over the world, and he works with highly respected brands such as the Ritz-Carlton, W Hotels, the Luxury Collection. And today we have Greg Jacobson here in Sri Lanka today. It's such an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
How is Sri Lanka treating you?
I love Sri Lanka. I wasn't familiar with Sri Lanka at all, and I think that it's a hidden gem in the world, and I think that it's poised to explode to be a world-class destination. I'm very excited to be part of that.
Well, that's good to hear. So Greg, from reading your book, I understand that you had a thriving $350 million business of your own, which you gave up. You had an epiphany and you realized that it's not making you happy.
That's true. I had a thriving business and did not have a thriving life.
Right.
I lost the reason that I was doing what I was doing. I was so focused on earning and achieving at such a high level that the things that were most important to me were lost. And I decided to walk away from that, which I don't recommend doing it the way that I did it, which is truly just walking away. Maybe you want to ramp down a little bit and rethink your steps. But for me, it was the best move that I had ever made in my entire life. Yeah.
So once you gave up, you learned through many challenges how to be happy, the tools and skills of how to be happy. So you teach it now to people, to individuals, to organizations, to couples. So you really are a catalyst of change.
Yeah, I teach about how to achieve at a high level. It's not so much as a quality of life, it's a quality of life rather than a lifestyle. I was focused on lifestyle, which at that time meant to me become a good earner. That way I can provide for my family at a high level, and believing that if you have a lot of money, you'll be happy. And I knew somewhere deep down that that wasn't true, as I'd worked with so many people that were very wealthy billionaires and CEOs of Fortune 500 companies that truly weren't fulfilled, although they were successful, perceived successful.
So in your journey, who taught you, who were your gurus to transform your life, like from a businessman who's merely earning money to someone who started teaching people?
Well, it started long before that. When I was 16 years old, my role models at home were pretty much non-existent.
Right.
So I would seek out the people that I thought had what I wanted to have in my life, and I would call them on the telephone when there was a telephone to call people on that they would actually pick up, long before the internet and before emails and even voicemails and cell phones. I would call people on the phone and they would be at their desk and I would meet with them. So from people like Steve Wynn, people like Les Brown and Tony Robbins and my God, Jack Canfield, and so many out there of people that were seemingly living the life that I wanted and would learn from them. So most of them at that time were not personal development. They were captains of industry, although some were personal development. So I had learned a broad scope of what I wanted to learn, but again, I followed the path of money until I realized that that really wasn't the answer.
Sure. So you work with all these great brands, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about your work with the Ritz-Carlton, with the Luxury Collection. Tell us about your work. What do you do?
I work with some of the largest companies in the world, and what I teach them is really old school change, is how to connect with people on a one-to-one basis, how to truly care, first of all, it starts in the mirror. You got to care about yourself. And you have to learn what it takes to be happy on the inside, so that can start on the inside and then flow outward. I think so many people are chasing happiness from an outside or external perspective, and it really starts from inside. And what I've learned through the many teachings and wonderful people that I've met is true happiness is built within relationships. You could be the most successful person in the world financially. You could be a very popular singer or musician. You can be an Olympic athlete and achieve at a high level in those very specific areas. But if you don't have a quality of relationships, your life is empty.
Sure.
So the happy people that I've met, and I learn from everyone. It's not just high-profile people. I learn from tuk-tuk drivers. I learn from dishwashers. I learn from janitors. It really doesn't matter. I look at everybody on an equal level, and if you're happy, I have something to learn from you. And if you're miserable, I also have something to learn from you, which is what not to do.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the service training you do or the customer focused training you do.
Okay, I teach people how to interact on a level. First it starts in the mirror, and then it starts with relationship building within your home, within your friends, your coworkers, and then together, once you're overflowing in your heart, which is really the most important thing, then you can connect with people. Now, there's very specific things that you could do to get there, but that's the crux of what I do, is I teach people how to connect with other people by listening and sharing and caring and having people feel listened to and valued and important, by listening to the things that they say and then acting on them to create an experience that is unmatched and appreciated, that people will want to come back again and again and again. Because whether it's a Ritz-Carlton or some of the other luxury hotels in the world, or whether it's a bank, or it doesn't matter what type of businesses, there's always going to be competition.
Sure.
And a customer is someone who is very price sensitive. They look at the price, and if someone else can beat your price, then they'll go there. Even if it's a 5-star, they're looking for that. If you are looking for someone who's a client, they're value-centric. They're the ones who are looking for value within a relationship or within a business relationship, that it's not just about dollars and cents. Obviously, that comes into play. But if it's a place, like I said, like the Ritz-Carlton, even if there's several Ritz-Carlton, why would you choose one over the other? Or versus a Cinnamon or something here in Sri Lanka? And the reason being is the experience that you get from the atmosphere. Because they all have very similar amenities. They all have great food. They all have a pool and a sauna and a gym. All of those things exist already, and people have an expectation, which is a minimum standard of excellence. If you don't meet the minimum standard of excellence, they'll leave you anyway. So if you don't leave that door open and you go the extra mile to create this feeling. Now, rich people can buy pretty much anything, but they can't buy love, they can't buy respect, they can't buy appreciation. And if they feel that value, that's something that they can't buy, and so they'll come back again and again and again, because all people crave that.
Okay, fantastic. Great information, thank you. Now, Sri Lanka is poised for tourism, it's a holiday destination, but we need service training. And this we all know. Where do we begin?
It's very lacking here, and it's unfortunate. However, I do see the promise and the look in people's eyes of that they really want to learn here. If they don't roll their eyes when I give them some suggestions, even if it's not training, I help people along the way to be able to have a more rich experience within themselves, which then shares to other people, and I give them very specific things that they could do, and I see that they take action on these things.
Sure.
But Sri Lanka is not a world-class destination for service yet, but I do see that all of the bones are here to be able to make this place truly spectacular on the world stage for service and quality. So it's coming, and I'm here to share all those skills and tools.
Let me first ask you, what do we have as people of Sri Lanka? What do we have for service?
Well, I think that it starts with the individual, that people care, and it might be from the foundation of Buddhism, but people really care about each other.
Yes.
There's a courtesy, an underlying courtesy and caring that is really missing throughout the world.
And you think Sri Lanka has that?
You absolutely have that here in Sri Lanka, and
Yeah.
it's something that I'm drawn to, and the reason I've decided to stay here and really work with some of your top companies to be able to become leaders in the area of service, so they can be an example to teach others. I can't teach everyone, but I'm here to share
Right.
my knowledge and my experience, so you can become a world-class destination. Because although they're building Ritz-Carltons and JW Marriotts and Sheratons and things that will become the opportunity to have that service, without that specific training and caring, you'll just be another destination that has those things. But people come with expectations, and you won't meet those expectations, unfortunately.
What 3 things can we work in Sri Lanka on service?
I would say number 1 is listen intently. Listen with the intent of, what is this person trying to tell me? Someone might tell you 3 things. That doesn't mean that only the first thing is valid. And then repeat what they say. When you repeat something to somebody, you clarify and verify what they're saying, and it also shows them that you care about what they're saying. And then act upon what they say. The second thing I would think is, don't just say yes to everything. It sounds funny, but this is a problem mostly outside of the U.S. This isn't a problem in the U.S. In the U.S., people are fine with saying no, or I didn't understand what you were saying, or please repeat that. In especially Asian countries, and also in South American countries, they'll say yes no matter what you say. So if you ask for directions, excuse me, where is the bathroom? Yes is the answer. Yes, what? Is it that way? Yes. It doesn't matter if it's that way or not, especially if they don't understand what you're saying. So many times I'll notice that someone, by asking more questions and more questions, I'll notice that they don't understand what I'm saying, but they don't want to tell me no because they think that's rude. Really rude is not listening to someone and giving them a straight answer. That is the other thing. And I think maybe that's 2. And number 3 would be the way that problems or challenges are handled. I think that the answer here is always, it's not my fault. And even if it is their fault, they want to jump to conclusions and assume that the other person is wrong, even if they're not wrong. And when they find out that they were wrong, they say, oh, I think that there was a miscommunication, rather than taking ownership of the responsibility and say, hey, listen, I messed up, I'm sorry, let's make it right. That seems to be a big problem here that needs to be solved, because people don't want to be told that they're wrong, especially when they're right. Client service is about making the client feel special and feel valued and feel right, even if they're not right. Sure. And how can I make them right? How can I make this situation an outstanding situation for them so they don't feel discounted or not listened to or unappreciated? Right. And that goes for people at home as well, sure, with your family. You want your husband or your children or your friends to feel valued and appreciated, not that they can just be replaced. And I think so many times there's a hierarchy at some of these, especially at larger companies, that we're upper management, you're subordinates, what we say goes, what you say doesn't matter, you can be replaced. Nobody wants to feel that they're not valued, that they could be replaced, because their work flow, their attitude, all of that will suffer.
Fantastic. So 3 things would be listening, if I am to summarize.
Listening and then clarifying intently, and verifying. Not just listening, but did I understand the message that someone was trying to get across to me?
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you don't know something, maybe say, no, I don't know.
I'll find
out. I don't understand.
I don't understand. This is a learning opportunity for us. I don't know the answer to your question, but let's find that out together, so I'll know in the future, because it's important that we answer your question and that we get this solution happening.
I agree. And thirdly, owning up. Saying, I'm sorry, this is a mistake, let me make it right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
5-star service isn't about never making a mistake.
Sure.
It's about understanding that mistakes happen and how to elegantly work through them.
All right. Okay, excellent.
People can appreciate that. They do appreciate
Of course,
that.
of course. Thank you so much, Greg. Lovely speaking to you very briefly. I hope Sri Lanka makes use of this opportunity and
hope so as
takes
well.
on, it's such a privilege to have such expertise coming into Sri Lanka.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Amazing. Thank you so
great day.
much. You're watching Elevate with Ayanthi Philip. Thank you.